Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Lawrence Kavinga and I'm going to teach you periodic review systems. I'm going to take you through the lesson of periodic review system. This is one of the inventory management techniques. We had discussed this. We only did a basic introduction on the slide for inventory management techniques. So welcome today, and let me take you through what we call periodic review system. We are going to start with the definition. We look at the concept, and then we are going to look at the advantages and the disadvantages of using periodic review system. Periodic review system is a very common system that is used by procurement officers and storekeepers as they do inventory management and control. Welcome. We are going to start with the definition. The first thing we are going to look at is the definition. We define periodic review system as a system where inventory position is reviewed periodically rather than at a fixed order point. In this system, an item's inventory position is reviewed periodically rather than at a fixed order point. The periods or intervals at which stock levels are reviewed will depend on the importance of the stock item and the cost of holding that item. This is where a variable quantity will be ordered at each review to bring the stock level back to maximum. Maximum stock can be determined by adding one review period to the lead time, multiplying the sum by the average rate of usage, and adding any safety stock. So that is what we call periodic review system. This is a system where we count our materials in the warehouse periodically. We do this periodically. This is the opposite of the other method, the continuous method. This is not where we do this continuously. No. Remember, in the continuous system, we review our materials after a particular period of time. That is periodic review system. But for continuous system, we review our materials every day, every hour, every time we do a transaction. The material balances are recorded. But for periodic review system, we review our materials after a particular period of time, what we call after periods, after several periods of time. 1 week, 1 day, 1 month, quarter, and year. That is what we call periodic review system. This is what we are calling M minus W into brackets K plus L, close the brackets, plus S. For this case, M means the predetermined stock, W is the average rate of stock usage, T is the review periods, L is the lead time, and S is the safety stock. So this is the formula for calculating the amount of materials to buy for the periodic review system. Let us continue exploring this system. Let us now look at the concept of periodic review system. The purpose of any periodic review system is to check the status or the condition of the stock at a regular interval of time. This is to enable a top-up to be made for the stock to be maintained at the maximum level. The maximum stock level can be determined mathematically as the formula we have discussed up there. That formula, maximum level equals maximum usage multiplied by into brackets maximum lead time plus review time, close the brackets, plus safety stock. And in this case, we have a key. Our key is review time. The review time, this is equal to the time taken from the previous review to the next review. That's what we call the review time. While the safety stock is the reserve stock. The reserve stock. This is the maximum amount of materials we are going to order as an organization. As a summary, before we continue deeper into the system, for better understanding, we have two main concepts for the periodic review system. Number one is time and the quantities to be ordered. For ease of understanding, we can summarize this as periodic review system is a situation where the time is fixed. The periodic review system, the time is fixed. It can be every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 1 month. The time is fixed, but the order quantities is not fixed. The order quantities is not fixed. That is a basic summary of this method. Remember, this system is used and inventory is counted at a specific time interval. What we said, time is fixed, but the order quantities is not fixed. That's what we call the periodic review system. After the inventory in stock is determined, an order is placed for an amount that will bring inventory back to an desired level. For example, after every 2 weeks, we buy material. Remember, we said the quantities to be bought is not fixed. So we first count what is on the floor. We buy what we need to bring our materials in the warehouse back to a desired level. Time is fixed, 2 weeks. We always make our orders after 2 weeks. Place an order after 2 weeks. But the amount to buy depends on the available balances in our warehouses. That's the concept of periodic review system. Let me repeat that again. After the inventory in stock is determined, an order is placed for an amount that will bring inventory back up to a desired level. In this system, the inventory level is not monitored at all during the time interval between orders, so it has the advantage of little or no required record keeping. Here, this is one of the advantages we are going to discuss later on. No need for doing continuous records of the inventories. However, we have a disadvantage of this concept, such that the disadvantage is less direct control. We have less direct control. This typically results in large inventory levels for a periodic inventory system than in a continuous system to guard against unexpected stockouts early in the fixed period. So you can see that is one of the main disadvantages, because we always buy after a particular period of time. Our example is the 2 weeks. We only buy after 2 weeks. So if materials become depleted, if we have excess demand and our materials become depleted before the 2 weeks, we cannot replenish that. That is a very big disadvantage for us. Such a system also requires that a new order quantity be determined each time a periodic order is made. This is the concept, periodic review system. Let us now look at the advantages and the disadvantages of this system. Now we are going to look at the advantages and the disadvantages of periodic review system. And as a summary, remember what I've said. This method, time is fixed. The time intervals, we call them the time intervals. They are fixed. You can say 2 weeks, once, 2 weeks, every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, every 6 weeks. But the amounts to be ordered, the quantities to be ordered, is not fixed. That is a summary of this system. Now let us look at some of the advantages. Number one, time saving. The storekeeper saves a lot of time. The business owner or manager spends analyzing inventory counts, which allows more time for other aspects of running the business. This system reduces the time the storekeeper will spend analyzing inventory counts, so he utilizes his time doing other more useful jobs for the organization, running the business. Number two, there's a greater chance of eliminating obsolete items. A greater chance of eliminating obsolete items. The system helps us to identify obsolete items in our system, in our store. Remember what obsolete items are. These are materials that we no longer need because sometimes they are unserviceable. This is what we call scrap, an item whose lifespan is expired. Or number 2, excess materials. Sometimes we have excess materials in our warehouse, materials that are too many in the warehouse. Or number 3, we have another example of what is scrap, items that are out of fashion or out of technology. The material is still new. We are still using materials of the latest technology, but they are outdated in terms of fashion or technology. So this system helps us to identify these materials, and it shows us a way of eliminating them. Number 4, the fourth advantage, large quantity discount may be negotiated. Sometimes when we buy in large quantities, after our time intervals, if during that sale period our demand was abnormally high, we will be forced to buy more than normal. So this will enable us to get discounts, quantity discounts from our suppliers, and that is a saving for the organization. And lastly, we have the production economies. This is the last advantage. This system enables us to manufacture and do production and assembly economically, saving money. Let us look at a few disadvantages. This system has a few disadvantages, such as number 1, lack of accurate inventory counts from business with high volume sales. This method is not suitable for organizations with large transactions and large volumes of business. This system is not appropriate for that. Remember, we said we don't count our materials in between the intervals, so that is not good for organizations who need such data. Number 2, the second disadvantage, the owner must make assumptions between inventory review periods regarding inventory counts. This can make it difficult to ascertain when the ordering item is necessary, and it can also make accounting less accurate. Because of these assumptions, inventory assumptions between the review period, between one period and the other. In case you need to adjust your review periods from 2 weeks, every 2 weeks to 3 weeks, this is not good. This assumption is not good. Number 3, disadvantage. On average, larger stocks are required than with the fixed order point system. For this system, for us to be safe, we need to keep large quantities of materials. Remember, we only buy our materials after a particular period of time. In case we have high demand than normal, then we are going to lose as an organization. Number 4, reorder quantities are not based on EOQ. This is another very big disadvantage. Remember, when we are using EOQ, it is not, and it will not work if we combine EOQ with this method. Remember what we said, sometimes we use one or more of these methods. Sometimes we combine one method with another one. But now it is very difficult to combine EOQ with this method, because remember, here we buy after a particular period of time, and EOQ does not work like that, so the two will not fit together. The next one, if the usage rate changes shortly after a review period, a stockout may occur before the next review date. A stockout may occur before the next review date. If the usage rate changes, if we have abnormally high demand or abnormally low demand, this will affect our systems. And lastly, we have difficulties in determining appropriate review periods unless demands are reasonably constant. This is the other very big disadvantage of this system. In case demand goes up or down, this system will not work. Remember, we only buy after a particular period of time. So in case demand goes up, our materials get consumed within 3 days, and we only order after 2 weeks, then we are in. That is a conclusion of the disadvantages and disadvantages of the periodic review system. Thank you for taking your time and effort to listen to this broadcast. We were talking about periodic review system. We have looked at the definition, concept, advantages and disadvantages. If you have any further questions, kindly contact me on. I have my number there. You can call me or WhatsApp. I'll respond. You have my email address. You can contact me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, ResearchGate or Academia. Contact me for any further clarification that you may require. And lastly, please subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel so that you can receive the latest materials concerning supply chain management. Thank you.